May 2nd, 2019. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 180 of You Can Bet On That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet On That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting across from me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
So this is a bonus episode. We will be back next week with a regular episode. We have some Gamblepalooza items that we forgot to mention last time, and
of course,
some questions from listeners that we got through email and things like that. But this is all about the calls, so let's get straight to it. So on a recent episode, we had said that there wasn't much value in getting the Caesars Rewards Visa card. But we got a call from Brandon. He said, he reminded us that there is one thing that it's good for.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Brandon from Seattle. I had a quick comment from your last episode about the Total Rewards Visa card. I got one, and I mainly got it because I can't make it always to Vegas every 6-month period because I believe the points are reset after 6 months if you don't use them. So basically what I do is I use the card just to keep my reward credits active. So when I go to Vegas, I have that little bit of comp I can spend. And all I do is put like my cell phone bill on it. It charges a little bit of money to my card every month. I pay it off, and then my comps don't expire. Love your podcast. You guys have a good one. Bye.
Yeah, so that's very good, especially for players who maybe only go to Vegas once a year.
Right.
You know, but they play a lot while they're there. So maybe they're diamond or something like that. They've got a lot of reward credits.
Right.
By using this card, every time you use it, it extends that 6-month period.
Yeah. Well, that is good. And that's a good point.
Yep. All right, next call.
Hello, Mark and Dr. Mike. My name is Donovan. I'm from North Carolina. So I just started listening to your podcast. I love your show. And I have two questions that I have to ask, or topics. My first one is, I was wondering why casinos have so many tables of $15 minimums, $25 minimums, and not enough tables when it comes to $5 and $10 games when it comes to craps and blackjack. I see a lot of dealers standing around, and I always wonder why there's so many dealers doing nothing when they could open more $5 and $10 tables and have more people gambling. My second question is, I shoot craps a little bit, so I was online and watching a video where they said the biggest secret that casinos don't want you to know about when it comes to craps is to not bet on the pass line odds. Because when people stack up their pass line odds, chips and towers, it makes the dice run into them or hit into them, and control dice throwers can't control the dice because the dice are running into everything. So you ever heard of that where people say don't bet pass line odds and only bet on the place bets? So I was wondering about that, and just to wish me luck, I'm going to Cherokee Casino in North Carolina, probably by the time your next podcast. So wish me luck, and thank you very much. Bye.
That's a new one to us.
Yeah.
Don't take odds because it messes up the dice controllers or just messes up the dice at all. You're more likely to hit the big stack of chips. We haven't heard that one.
Well, aren't you just as likely to hit the big stack of chips that the dealers have?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on the table. Yeah, maybe make no bets because there are a lot of chips out there.
Well, maybe the side where the shooter is, they make bets. The other side makes no bets. The players collude.
Okay, I wonder if Jonathan, if on the thing that he saw, it actually said only take odds if you're on the same side as the shooter.
Right? Because then it can't matter, right?
That's right. It doesn't matter. Yeah,
I don't think there's anything to that at all.
No, but that's definitely a new one. I think that's so great. What casinos don't want you to know, don't take odds.
That must be one of those things that pops up on your cell phone. And it always says something like, well, casinos don't want you to know. And then it's just an ad for a gambling slot app.
Yeah, right. And
they don't want you to know that you can actually play slots on this app and not have to go to their casino. That's what they don't want you to know.
Right. And it downloads a virus to your phone as well. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. As far as the low limits go, yeah, we've talked about this before. Now, we have heard from some casino personnel that sometimes it just makes more sense financially to have a $25 table open with just one player on it,
right,
instead of a full table of $5 players. It goes faster. He's betting more. So there maybe is some logic to it, but it is interesting because the guys on Two Morons talking about casinos and stuff on their recent episode were talking about how the corporate minds have this idea of, these formulas, when you should raise the limits and that kind of thing. But they're not down there on the floor. They're not, dealing with the people there. Are they having a good time? Are they likely to stick around? That kind of thing. So
I'd say it depends on your crowd. Now, let's say you were having a concert at your casino, and there were a lot of people there who weren't gamblers, but they were there for the concert.
Right.
And then after the concert, you want them to gamble. Mm-hmm. If I'm running the casino floor, I have more low limit tables.
Yeah, and they'll fill up.
Right. Now, if it's a regular Saturday night, and most of the people there are gamblers because that's the only thing to do in the casino at that time, gamble and drink, then I'm putting higher limits on everything because those people, even though they may want a $10 table, will go to the $15 table and play, right?
Right. I think to Jonathan's point, though, and we've thought about this too, how often have we seen just empty tables?
Yeah.
With these higher limits,
right?
And that I don't understand because you're not making any money there when they're empty.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, but of course, when they first open, they're always empty, but maybe you walk away and 2 minutes later, two guys walk up and they want to play $25 blackjack.
That could be, yeah. If you're just taking a quick look and you're not...
Well, look at us. If we walk into Harrah's and there's one empty table and it's a $50 craps table, where do we go?
We go to that $50
craps table. Right.
Yeah.
And
I go because I'm your good friend.
Yeah, well, and you just adjust your bet accordingly. So you're betting the same as if we were on a $25 or a $15 table.
That is true. At any given time, I have about the same
amount of money out there, right?
Yeah, that's true. All right, next up, Bill has a trip report from Singapore.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. It's Bill calling in with a trip report from Singapore. I was there earlier this week on a work trip, thought I'd take advantage. There were two properties in Singapore, the Marina Bay Sands, owned by the Sands Group, who also runs the Venetian, Palazzo, etc. in Las Vegas, and some properties in Macau, I think, and the Resorts World Casino, owned by the Genting Group. I went to Resorts World first, and there were a couple interesting things. First of all, they have $2.50 chips, which you can make bets on, like the Progressive Jackpot. That was the smallest amount of money chip they have. They don't have dollar chips. Table games included Baccarat, Sippo, three-card poker, Caribbean and Stud, etc. No craps. And when I asked why, the pit boss said that there weren't enough players. So obviously, Dr. Mike didn't get here quick enough to save the table from the bean counters. Marina Bay Sands is the larger casino. $10 minimum craps. The game is called the English. The crew is fantastic. They recognize the term to go to a quarter, even though there weren't like a quarter coin in Singapore. They're very quick, but the game doesn't have any goofy bets like odd or small, repeater, fire, etc. on the table. You can't make hot bets. And the minimum for any craps in the yo are $2. The horn is a minimum of $8. And any 7 and hardways are $10 each, which means that you can't make a world bet. This throws me for a loop because it's not the way that I play normally. And every time you make a bet, you have to think about what you're trying to make instead of it being sort of like muscle memory on a standard $10 table. I do have a question for you too. How does a player like me secure room comps in Vegas? I am not based near MGM or Caesars property normally, but I do travel into Vegas like 3 or 4 times a year. I have Total Rewards Diamond status. How do you get in touch with a host? And do you guys know any hosts that you would recommend? Keep up the good work. The show always brings me joy every time Thursday comes. And I hope to see you guys at 360 Vegas Vacation in May. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, thanks for the report, Bill. Gosh, Bill, if you're a diamond through Caesars Rewards,
you should get free rooms.
You probably have a bunch of offers just already waiting for you. If you were to go online, go to Caesars.com and enter your Caesars Rewards number. If you've never been online before, you probably have to sign up and give a password and that kind of thing. But it'll show you all your offers. Yeah. And I guarantee you there are going to be some free... Caesars loves giving away rooms, and certainly to Diamond members.
Right. So you'll probably have a free room offer every month.
Yeah. And if you do want to get in touch with a host, call the property you want to stay at. Again, the phone numbers are all online. All you have to do is call and just say, can I speak to a casino host?
Right.
And they will walk you through it. They'll say, hey, when are you coming? And they'll they have your offers in front of them, so they can set you up. Yeah, you should be in good shape. Yeah. All right, next up is Cecil.
Hey, this is Cecil in Tampa. I was just listening to your latest show, and you were talking about how you did the opposite on the sports bets, and I know that sounds like a silly way of doing it, but it's actually, I think it's pretty good science behind it because the line is set up to divide the action. Being contrarian by nature, that's the way that you want to go. But I want to bring up a couple topics about sports betting. I think with the spread of sports betting, you're going to see being contrarian, just trying to figure out which side to fade the public is going to be more important. Obviously, with NFL, it's the number one betting sport, but then the number two betting sport is always going to be college football. And college football will become bigger because these are event-based things, and millennials want to know why they're betting on things. But the point I really called for was I believe there's going to be a correlation between the increase in sports betting, and I think you'll see a correlation between the growth of craps. I think after decades of seeing a downward trend, I believe that you will see a rebirth in craps, and it will correlate to the states as they bring in sports betting and increase their gambling options. Sports bettors will want more table games, and I think craps will be one of them. I think the social aspect of gambling will increase with the spread of sports betting because a larger percentage of the population will be exposed to casinos and sitting around mashing buttons on a slot machine. While millennials like video games, and I have seen the development of new skill-based slot machines, they also want the social part of it. I will be willing to bet that we will see a correlation between the increase in sports betting offerings and the number of craps tables in the United States. Thanks, guys.
Well, I guess that would be great.
I think Cecil's some kind of angel. He's our patron saint or something.
I guess I agree that the spread of sports gambling is likely to get more people maybe to go to casinos.
Yes.
Whether or not craps specifically is held by that, I don't know.
I think his point is that people who sports bet are social. Mm-hmm. They like to be in the sports book and talk. They'll talk to a guy they don't know about the game. Right. They're social people. They're not somebody who wants to be alone at a slot machine and not be bothered.
Right. Okay.
And so when they do leave the sports book and go in the casino, they're going to head to craps or blackjack.
Table games.
Table games where they can talk.
More,
where there's more interaction.
Yeah.
I think that's his point. And that's probably true. Now, how many people will sports bet by going to a casino, or will they sports bet by sitting at home and
sure. Well, again, it depends on how close they are to a casino too.
Right? Because when sports betting gets legalized in California in the next millennia, then you're going to see that people will just be, on their phone making bets, or at the 7-Eleven.
Sure, and there's a good chance too that initially these online sports books might be run by the tribal casinos themselves,
right?
So they could tie in offers and giveaways and free play and stuff like that to get people to come in.
Another point, one of the things about sports betting, we'll bet by you making picks on your phone, but that's not as exciting as if you go to a place and say it's Saturday and there's a ton of college football games. You make your picks and then you're watching on the big screen 8 different games and chatting with the guy next to you, and everyone's, oohing and ahhing every time something significant happens. Yeah. That's way more fun than sitting at home,
true.
right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then as far as, the contrarian bet the opposite of what you think, that actually hasn't been going too well.
It was going really well
great
for a
while.
couple of weeks, and this last week has been rough.
Yeah, I think I've had 5 or 6 losing days in a row. So
well, minor losing days.
Well, there was that one where I went over.
There was one for over, but most of them are like today, like where you won 2 and lost 3.
Yeah,
so it's not terrible.
That's right. That's right. All right. Next up, a Vegas trip report.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Nick from Northern Virginia. I was calling again to give you a fuller trip report. I just got back from Las Vegas, and I was there for 4 days. I was downtown for 2 days and on the Strip at the Cromwell for a couple of days as well. So on the first day, played some video poker and did okay. But day 2 was really where it kicked into gear. Played some Pi-Gow poker. I hit the all, tall, small at the craps table at the D, and was up a good amount at video poker at the D. Went over to the downtown Grand. Played some double bonus video poker, and was up almost $100 there. I got to play some of those new skill-based slot machines that are for the millennials. I did not enjoy it very much. It was just a normal slot machine, but then they had a pinball bonus play on it that involved some skill, but I never got to play the bonus, so to me it was just a normal slot machine. I did not play that again. Then I went over to the Golden Nugget and played a little 3-card poker and some craps. day 3 in the morning, I got an email from the downtown Grand that has some free play at video poker, so I went over there and played that. This was $11, not a big deal. We also got to drive around a little bit and visited an off-strip, off-Fremont casino, the Suncoast. That was a pretty nice casino. I liked it. Pretty big. And they had video poker, craps, blackjack, and face-up pie gow for $10 a hand, which I found to be pretty good. The dealers were very nice, and they were also very good. My wife played some blackjack with me for the first time, and the dealer was very patient in telling us how everything was supposed to be played and gave her lots of hints and tips. And then on day 4, we went down to the Park MGM, walked around the very small casino, played some video poker in New York, New York. We had 3 pie gow sessions at the Cromwell, and interestingly enough, they had a $10 limit table at midnight, which was fantastic. And I played some free bet blackjack there and also at the Flamingo and did pretty well on those. Also played some blackjack switch over at Casino Royale and did all right there as well. Later on that day, I went over to play some video poker at the Link, and my wife hit her royal flush after throwing away garbage. She flopped her royal flush after that. Also played some craps there, $10, which was pretty nice. And then played some slots and video poker over at Caesars before going to see Absinthe, and had a little small win over there. So it was pretty good overall. The last day I got up early to play some craps at the Flamingo, hoping to go home with a win, and it turned out, even though I hit the small, went home with a $2 loss on that day. But overall, really good trip. Really enjoyed the Link and the Downtown Grand and the D. So hope you guys are having a good day, and have a good day. Bye.
All right, thanks, Nick. Boy, $10 pie gow at midnight. It's hard to find $10 pie gow on the Strip at any hour.
Right.
Yeah,
you know, when he said that, I was thinking, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get $5,000.
Okay.
I'm going to go to the $10 pie gow table, and I'm just going to stay there forever.
Okay. Are you going to?
I'm never going to leave that table.
That's going to be your thing now.
It's going to be. I'm just going to sit there and play $10 pie. $5,000 will last me the rest of my life.
Oh, okay. So this is what you're going to do for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
this
just
is
the rest
not
of
just
my
when
life.
you're
I mean,
in Vegas.
$10 pie gow. That $5,000 will last forever.
But will you bank at a full table? Are you going to bank?
No. I don't want to be that guy. I'm just gonna sit there and while away my life. Okay. I'm gonna get up and go to the bathroom.
Sure. Well,
and,
of course.
And
right.
occasionally I'll get up and go get a candy bar or something so I can survive.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it.
You'll sleep
that's all
there?
you have to do. I'll just sleep. I'm playing pie gow, Mark.
All right. Sorry. Yeah, it's an embarrassing question. Yeah. All right. Next up, Greg had kind of an interesting thing happen to him in San Juan.
Hello, my name's Greg. I live in Monticello, Wisconsin, and just recently tuned into your podcast, and I really enjoy them. Just wanted to comment on a couple of trips I've taken recently. Went to Las Vegas at the end of February, had a really successful craps run, probably won at least $1,200 between the different casinos. Harrah's was my favorite place to play. Really friendly dealers. But as far the Mirage and Treasure Island, I would stay away from. It seemed like the dealers were ambivalent, really weren't into the game. And I would say the same for the Paris. It seemed like more of a job for them, and it just wasn't a really great experience. Also went to San Juan, Puerto Rico, and I had a situation that I've never really encountered before. I'm about 6'3" and have quite long arms, and my favorite place to stand is right to the left of the dealer. And the first time I threw, as I extended my arm, the dealer told me that I couldn't go past like the halfway point of the table. And I haven't been in the casino, whether it be my hometown casino in Wisconsin or even in Las Vegas, have I ever been told that I had to limit the extension of my arm. And I was just wondering if other casinos do that, if you've experienced something like that. It just kind of threw me off my game a little bit, and it just made for a really unpleasant experience. So that's all I've got. I really enjoy your podcast, and I look forward to the next one. Thank you.
I think what Greg meant is he was to the left of the stick man.
What did he say? The dealer?
He said the dealer.
Oh, the stick man. I'm sure he's what he meant. Yeah,
he meant the stick man. And so he's right near the center of the table.
Right.
And if he's got long arms, they figure he's reaching out and trying to slide the dice.
It's pretty much policy at craps tables that the dice have to go at least half the distance of the table.
Yeah.
And although I've never seen this kind of thing enforced before.
No, it's not that he was throwing them half the distance of the table.
No, but by the time he released them from his hand, he was past the halfway point.
Right.
So they're they're not, when they leave his hand, they're not going at least half the distance of the table. Right?
Yeah. Well, and I think they're worried about sliding. I think they're worried about somebody leaning over and gently kind of setting them down.
Sure.
To get
Sure. Just not getting, there's not a lot of action on the dice.
Not a lot of action on the dice. Right. Yeah.
But again, I've never seen this enforced.
No, I've never heard of that, but I could certainly see it happening.
Yeah.
If you're tall enough and your arms are long enough. Yeah.
It's unfortunate, I guess, Greg, in the future, maybe stand at the end, but it sounds like he does like to, play there right
well,
next to the
that's
stick.
my favorite spot too,
Yeah,
right?
sure,
but I wing them down there.
Yeah.
And I mean, they hit the back and bounce around like crazy. So I've never had anyone tell me anything. Although I'm thinking that in the future, with genetics and stuff, maybe we can breed people who have super long arms.
Oh, yeah. And that'll be the death of craps?
It'll be the death of craps. It'll be like a little tiny like Monopoly roll. Like when you're playing Monopoly with your siblings,
right,
and you just basically just drop the dice and you end up getting 12 like 8 times in a row or something, right?
Yeah.
And then nobody questions that.
That's right.
Just like,
finally the casino's just shut down. That's the end of it.
1 million on 12.
All right. We actually got 3 calls here from Tyler. They're all pretty short, so I'm going to play them all right in a row.
All right,
here.
let's power through them.
Hey, Mark, Dr. Mike, Tyler from Chicago, long-time listener, first-time caller. Just landed in Vegas, walking through the Flamingo. We're staying at Mirage here for the USBC Bowling Nationals. Planning on getting on some crab tables with my buddies. Going to have some hot drinks. It's my girlfriend's first time in Vegas. They're going to show her around. And maybe we'll put in a sports bet for you and Dr. Mike. Bye, guys. Appreciate the show. Bye-bye. Hey, Mark, Dr. Mike. This is Tyler again with a little update on the Vegas trip. Don't remember where we played craps at. We went to South Point, actually. I'm sorry, this is a little under the influence right now. Went to South Point, played some craps for a little bit. Very good. Awesome crew. Very personable. Currently at Cromwell, tables are packed, but we're going to try to get in on that 15 minimum. Try to get that dice hot, son. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye. Mark, Dr. Mike, Tyler from Chicago. So I know that this might be my second or third call, but my girlfriend, whose first time it is in Vegas this week, decided she wanted to get a real hot roll on the craps table, and even though the Mirage doesn't have a fire bat, she hit 7 points. 7. Ridiculous. My buddy bought in for $100 and cashed out with $780. I was placing bets for my girlfriend at one point because she was low on her bankroll and cashed out with $350. And then I bought in for 2, cashed out for $400. Amazing crap session at Mirage. Crews were great. Shout out to Kyle, the dealer. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Mirage. The check-in was a little rough, but the play is real good. Thanks, guys. Doing a great job. Bye-bye.
All right. Congratulations.
All right. Yeah, it sounds like they had a good time.
Yeah,
every call got a little more.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little drunker, a little
drunker.
more
That's good.
Yeah.
That's what it's supposed to be.
See, now they had a good experience at Mirage. Greg was saying he didn't. Sometimes it just depends on time of day.
Well, look how many times we've had bad crews at Cromwell in the morning, and in the evening, great crews.
It's complete opposite.
Who knows? So the other night at Harrah's Southern Cal, Chris was the shooter. I don't know if you remember. I know you know him. You may not remember his name.
Okay. And just to let everybody know, this is another instance of Dr. Mike telling a story about him being at Harrah's Southern California, and I'm not there.
Right.
Okay.
Well, no, actually, I wasn't there. I was at home. And I got a text from our friend Phil who told me the story.
All right.
However, the next night when I did go without you, they told me the details.
Okay.
Anyway, they won the 6 on the fire. Okay. But he rolled 12 points.
Yeah.
12 points.
Yeah, it's something else.
And he looked at me and he said, "You would have cleaned up." I mean, because you've got the 5,000 from the fire, but 12 points.
Yeah, I know. And as soon as he makes the fire too, and you realize that 5,000's coming, then you're more aggressive. You're thinking, hey, you've got so much
think about
coming in.
this: 5,000 from the fire. making at least 5,000 on the 12 points, right?
Yeah.
At least. I mean, that is it. If I'd never even increased my line bet, I made 5,000 on the points.
Yeah.
And then there's all the numbers in between. There had to be some in between, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, that's got to be a $20,000 roll, I'm thinking.
Yeah. And we
and I
weren't
was
there.
at home watching TV and get a text about it.
Yeah. That's the story. Well, that's
Story of my life.
It's exactly.
It's
You've
the
actually
story
had a
of my
pretty good
life.
run here recently.
I
so,
hit
yeah,
5
good.
on the fire on Monday
Okay,
night.
good. Yeah.
So.
All right, next call.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Bubba. At least that's what they call me over here. I love your show. This is a first-time caller. I have a trip story that I took this weekend. Friday night, I live in New Hampshire, by the way, and I went to this place called Boston Billiards, and they have craps, but you know how New Hampshire really doesn't have a casino. So they have craps. It has a $5 minimum table, but the problem is their maximum is $10. And it doesn't matter what it is, $10 max. But anyways, I was able to play for about an hour. I took $100 and I was playing like the Iron Cross and I ended up taking home $200 that night. But anyway, so the next day I went to Foxwoods. I didn't have much time to play because I was with my mom doing the bingo thing. So the first session I had with them, not so good. I played for about a half hour and I dropped 1,000 right there. It's like, well, you know, I've been winning for the last month, but it looks like this is going to be not such a good night. But then I took a break, and so I was going by another craps table. Well, I watched for about 10 minutes, and I said, well, I got about 15 minutes. I need to decide, do I want to play or not? So I cashed in for 900, and I told the dealer, put it on the 6 and 8, 450 on the 6, 450 on the 8. So the roller gets his dice. Boom. First roll. Hard 6. And I'm like, oh, God, I'm thinking Dr. Mike. Hard 6. Why? I should have played that too. I said, that's all right. So the dealer's getting ready to do it. I said, no, press everything up on the 6 and 8. So they're trying to figure it out, the box man and the dealer. And they started arguing. They're like, you know, no, it's this much. No, it's that much. And I'm like, no, it's just whatever. I mean, you know, come on, don't hold up the table. I just feel bad if you keep holding up. It's going to go bad on me. Finally, the boxman said, yeah, we'll just pull it offside. We'll figure it out for you. Don't worry. If it hits, we'll take care of you. And so he told the stickman, go ahead, let him roll. And sure enough, again, did not have a hard 6. The roller rolls another hard 6. Oh my God. I just hit 2 6s in a row. And then they figured out $700, so I was able to collect on that. And I said, all right, now just back it down to 110 across the inside. And then I started playing the field, you know, like an Iron Cross kind of deal. I ended up leaving that table 2250 up. So it was a good day overall, even though I had lost $1,000 earlier. So I still profited about 325. But man, that was the craziest thing for me because I'm not a high, you know, I'm a low roller normally. But for some reason, for that day, I went all out. I apologize, Dr. Mike. I didn't play the hard 6, but it still ended well. But anyways, you guys keep up the great work. I love your show. You are so awesome to listen to. The stories you tell. You actually helped me on a few things with the callers and everything. So keep it up. Love you guys. Take care.
All right. Well, congratulations, Bubba. I think a gambler who's been gambling any amount of time at some point has decided, I'm just going to make a huge bet, way bigger than I normally would.
Who would do that?
Right? And just a cautionary tale, we don't get the phone calls from the people who lost those bets.
Right.
Because this could have been easily an immediate 7 out, and he's out $900 additional dollars on top of everything he's lost. I'm glad it worked out for Bubba, but, you know, just it doesn't.
Why did they have a hard time figuring that out?
You know what it was?
It pays $525.
Yes, $525.
So put $240 on each, the 6 and the 8. That's $480. Mm-hmm. That leaves you with $45.
No, I understand, but see, they're trying to do it fast. I bet they weren't thinking in those terms. They were thinking, cut it in half, and then what's the highest multiple of 6?
Right.
Right. So I you know, the thing is, you've said it your way, I've said it my way. I don't know that it's all that easy. You said, why is it so hard? You just take 480. I mean,
you know, 240 is a bet.
Yes,
right? I mean, most dealers know 240 is divisible.
Right.
So they, put 240 in each, you got 480, and then you've just left there with $45.
Yeah.
And now you got to figure out how to do it.
I understand. You've had a little time to think about it. And
just while he was talking.
Yeah, plus this is probably not something that ever happens there, right? It's
right.
like,
well, right.
Just
you want to press.
Yeah, you just press the 6, right? It's not usually press both of them with all the winnings, right? So
right. Well, another way to do it would be to take it all down, right?
Oh yeah, just take
and
all the
add
chips and
add
then,
it all together, and then see how much you have.
Yeah,
right.
That's true. But again, that takes a little while too.
Right.
They he wanted to do it fast, and they wanted a number right away.
They wanted it
right. So anyway.
I like it. I like that style. I love that.
Well, it's nice that it hit for him.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it sounds more like a Dr. Mike move than a Mark move.
I don't know. I've never really walked up to a table and put $1,000 down on one thing.
No.
That'd be crazy.
That's nothing that you've ever done ever.
Trying to get back to even.
Yeah, no, I've never seen that. All right. Next up is Jana.
Hey guys, how are you? This is Jana from Houston. I am gearing up for our Vegas trip. We have to leave the house like at 2:00 in the morning. Hopefully we'll get a good night's sleep and be on our road to Vegas tonight. But anyway, I wanted to call y'all and tell you just how much my husband gets me and how wonderful he is. I was telling him that the Oakland A's has a AAA ball club that plays in Vegas, and I think they've got a new stadium. And I was really kind of wanting to go to one of their games. So I got online and started looking around, tried to find out how much tickets were and everything. And then I got to adding up the tickets and then the Uber and food and, everything. And it looked like it was going to cost us a little over $100. And I was thinking, maybe I could take that $100 and take it to the sports book and maybe bet on the game. And no sooner did I think it, my husband, the human calculator, was doing the same thing. And he said, that $100 that we would spend, you might could take it to the sports book and put it on the game. And I was like, I can't believe that. I was just thinking that very same thing. We do that all the time. We've been together for over 20 years and we kind of get each other like that. But I just thought I'd share that story with you guys. I've never bet on anything before, but because y'all are always talking about placing bets on sports and stuff, I just thought y'all would get a good kick out of that story. And I probably will. I'll probably take that $100 and go, and I think they're playing the El Paso. So being that it's a Texas game, maybe that'll be kind of cool. Thanks a lot, guys. I can't wait to get to Vegas, and hopefully I'll see you guys in October. Y'all take care and have a good day. Bye-bye.
When I first, so the Aviators is the
Las
team.
Vegas Aviators.
Yeah, they're a farm team for Oakland.
Now imagine your first sports bet ever is betting on the Las Vegas Aviators.
When I first heard the call, so back in the olden days, you were not allowed to bet on Las Vegas teams. Like UNLV, you couldn't make a bet on a UNLV game, right?
So they're worried about point shaving and
stuff like that. So the rules have changed, but I thought, boy, I wonder if you can bet on the Aviators, a minor league team.
Right.
That might be something. But no, some of the books are actually taking bets on the Aviators.
And they're playing El Paso. Who are they the minor league team for?
The Padres.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
So she's betting against the Padres. Hey, I'll tell you what, though, Jana. The Padres AAA team is one of the best minor league teams in baseball.
That's kind of been the case for a long time. Haven't we always had pretty good farm system?
No, I mean, they've got good pitching and hitting. Yeah. They have some of the top prospects hitters in the country. So I don't know about betting on those Las Vegas Aviators. So you might want to go the other way.
All right. Well, Jana, either way, good luck. Hopefully
take the over. Then you don't have to root for
either. There you go. That's what I always do. Yeah, I take the over. That's been working great for me lately. All right. We got a good question from Jeff here.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Jeff from San Diego. I was recently at Sequan Casino scrolling through their expansion section that just opened last month. I saw my favorite dealer at Spanish 21 and pulled up a chair. I should note that Spanish 21 is not my normal game. I did know going in that Spanish 21 offers certain player favorable options like doubling down multiple times or doubling after a split. And this somewhat makes up for the fact that the decks used have no tens. After a few hands, I was dealt 5-3 against dealer face card. I hit, got an 8, and now had a 3-card 16. The dealer informed me that because this was Spanish, I was still allowed to surrender. Even in Spanish 21, I think surrendering is the correct move here, so I took her up on it. She took half my bet for the house and began to drag my cards off. She was interrupted by the floor, who said surrender was not allowed in this situation. Per the floor, I would have only been allowed to surrender a 3-card hand if I had doubled down on my first 2 cards. In that case, I would have kept one of my bets and surrendered the other to the house. The dealer reset my bet and cards. Naturally, I hit the 16 and busted, losing my full bet. After this, I decided I should probably learn the rules of Spanish 21. Luckily, there was a pamphlet on the table that generally explained the differences from standard blackjack. And indeed, one of the bullet points listed double down rescue as an option, with a short explanation consistent with what the floor had described. However, the pamphlet also had a separate bullet stating late surrender allowed. I pointed this out to the floor, and his response was that late surrender bullet was simply referring once again to double down rescue. I told him it didn't make sense to me that the pamphlet would have 2 different bullet points describing the same thing in different words. In my view, late surrender must be another option different from double down rescue, and I believe my original surrender should have been accepted, meaning I'm owed half a bet. The floor stood his ground, and I decided not to press it further. My question is, do you agree with my interpretation? And if so, what should I have done if I wanted to escalate the matter? On a positive note, the Musiquan expansion is one of the nicest gaming areas I've ever been to. Very bright, open, and non-smoking. Note that this is distinct from the old gaming area that you have to walk through to get to this oasis. Props to the new food court for including San Diego favorite Bill's Barbecue, Lucha Libre's Tacos, and Hodad. Overall, a very great experience. That's it for me, guys. Stay classy.
Yeah, we've heard a lot of good things about this expansion at Sequan. Yes. Has your dad been out there by any chance?
No, he hasn't.
Okay,
no.
All right. We might have to check it out.
We should go check it out.
Yeah. All right, so getting to Jeff's question, let's talk about surrender a little bit for people who might not be familiar. Surrender is a rule that is not offered in all blackjack games. But the idea is that the surrender rule allows you to forfeit half your bet when you're in a really bad spot. For example, if you've got a 16 against a dealer's 10. That's the time when you would surrender. So if you had a $10 bet out there, you just say surrender and they just take $5. You only lose $5. You will lose less money in the long run doing that. Yeah, yes, it's a losing proposition, but in the long run, you will lose less money by doing that. Now, you can only surrender on your first 2 cards.
Right. Once you've taken a hit, you can't hit to 16 and then say, I want to surrender.
Right. Exactly. Now, Spanish 21 does have some additional interesting rules. It does have this double down rescue rule where if you double down, say you have an 11, you double down and you draw 5. Well, now you've got 16 against the dealer's 10. In that case, you can do the double down rescue where you only lose your initial bet. You don't lose twice.
You're double
right?
down.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that is different from late surrender. The pit boss that spoke to you, Jeff, was wrong. That late surrender is different from double down rescue. And whereas in Spanish 21, you can do certain things when you've got more than 2 cards. For example, you can double down on any number of cards. If you start with a 2 and a 3 and you draw a 6, you can double down now with your 11.
Right.
But that rule does not apply to late surrender. In Spanish 21, you can only surrender on your first 2 cards. So the pit, even though he was wrong in saying that double down rescue and late surrender are the same, he was correct in that you were not allowed to surrender on your 3 card 16. So hopefully that clears it up. One more thing I want to say too, late surrender. There's late surrender and early surrender. Late surrender means you can surrender only after the dealer has checked for a blackjack to see if they have a blackjack. Early surrender, which you will not find in the United States. I don't know of any place in the United States that offers it. And it's even hard to find in other parts of the world. But some do have it. Early surrender, which is great for the player, is you can surrender before the dealer checks for blackjack. But for the United States and almost any other game, that's why you hear late surrender. Yeah. Okay, moving on.
Hey guys, Stephen from Houston here. Delayed call here. This is a March Madness trip. Just a couple of highlights or lowlights from it. Stayed out at Red Rock. Played quite a bit of craps. I have my you can bet on that strategy for craps, which is I start off saying I'm going to play like Mark, and I end up playing like Dr. Mike.
Nice.
Doesn't always end well, but occasionally. But main reason for the call was to share this tale, Pygao story, Face Up Pygao. playing at Red Rock, $10 table, and I'm going to allow everybody to have one big groan when they hear the end of this one. So face up Pago, of course playing the bonus bets, $103,000 progressive, peel back my cards, 8, 9, 10, Joker, Queen, King of clubs, and the Ace of spades. 6 card straight flush. I think it paid $550. Never been so annoyed to win $550 in my life. And by the way, what the hell? The Ace of spades? Give me the 2 of flipping diamonds, you sons of... Anyway, I figured I would give you guys a nice groan with that story, but I should probably never play Pago again because I will never come close to that kind of hand again. But anyway, love the show. Been listening to you guys for years. You do a great job. Look forward to the next episode. Take care. Bye.
Yeah, never play Pago again. It's like in the world according to Garp, when they're looking to buy that house.
The plane crashes into the house.
Let's buy it.
He says, I'll take it. And they look at him like, what? And he goes, it's plane proof. Another plane will
chance
never
of it happening again. Of course, in my mind, I'm thinking it's probably on a flight path, right? So it's probably not a good idea.
Yeah, right. It's probably
there's some problem logic in that. Stephen, the most important thing here, though, did you win the hand?
Yeah, he didn't say.
In that case,
I hope he won. I hope he won.
But you're playing a pair of aces up top, right? So hopefully he did win.
Hopefully he won. Well, I'll tell you what. Stephen's got the right attitude. Why win a little when you can lose a lot? That's the way to do it, Stephen.
That's right.
$500.
I know. Look at a poor old Adam who got that.
He's not thinking about the little win. He's thinking of the huge amount of money he lost because he didn't have the stupid ace of clubs.
It's like Adam who, same situation, except he did get the 7 card straight flush,
right?
But he hadn't made the bet.
He didn't bet it.
So,
so he's thinking about the little win he got instead of instead of the huge amount of money he lost.
That's right. All right, let's hear from Rod.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Rod from Wisconsin. First-time caller. Just calling in about a trip I recently made. A trip to Iowa. Stopped at the Diamond Joe in Dubuque. $5 table. Dealers were great. It was pretty slow. It was on a Sunday afternoon. So the dice kept coming right back to me. There really wasn't anybody else on the table. And so I started to roll. 7'd out a couple times. And the dealers reminded me of the all tall, all small bet, which I'd heard you guys talk about. So I thought, heck, let me give that a try. So I threw $1 down on each one. I'm a low bettor. And I started to set the dice. And I know you guys don't necessarily believe in that, but so I set it in a pattern. I started throwing. I had every number covered with the exception of the 2 and the 12. And I hit several points, was making some good money. Well, I hit the point and I thought, well, you know what? I got to change the dice because I'm not getting the 2 or the 12. So I rolled and hit a 7, which didn't bother me because it was the come out roll. Well, I didn't realize because I've never played it. I lose the all tall, all small. So I threw him a 5 and I said, I'm coming back up on it. I said, you can take 2, put it wherever you want. So they put it on the all. And I started rolling. I set the dice and I rolled the same way every time. I got the all tall and I was the 5 away from the all small. And I threw the dice. I was getting excited and I threw it a little harder than I normally did. It bounced up, hit the cushion, fell on the table and 7'd out. The dealers were really excited, but I couldn't pull it out for them. But it was a fun trip. I definitely will do that again. Best roll I've ever had. I'm not a big gambler, but I definitely love craps and I love listening to your podcast. So keep up the good work and I'll keep listening. Thanks.
That's one of the things you don't like about the all small tall is that a 7 on a come out will wipe it out.
Right. As opposed to a fire bet where a 7 on the come out stays out.
Now, there's no reason the casino couldn't just say, well, the all small tall isn't working on the come out roll. But then also you wouldn't get numbers.
Right. You wouldn't get a 2 when a 2 came up on the come out. Right.
The casino could do it. There's no reason for them to do it, though, because they're going to make more money in the long run.
They love where the guy's like 5 away and then he makes his point of 8 and then 7's on the come out and then comes out on 5.
Yeah, that's right.
Because that happens all the time.
You might say it's money in the bank if you just hop that 5.
Yeah, hop the 5. That's money in the bank.
Yep. All right, next call.
Mark and Dr. Mike, how's it going, boys? I love the podcast. Calling to check in to see if you have any thoughts about North Carolina casinos Murphy and Cherokee. heading to Disney World this fall with my family, and on the way back, we're driving back up the East Coast of Pennsylvania, looking to stay at a casino resort. Those two stood out as being kind of on the way. I am kind of a low roller, so leaning towards Murphy, but if Cherokee is decent for low rollers, I actually prefer to go there because it's close to Dollywood, and I hit that up as well. So let me know if you have any thoughts on those two casinos, if you've heard anything from other callers or anything like that. Specifically for craps, I like to play $10 tables. I'm okay with a $15 table. And then for slots, try to stay under $3 a pull. So let me know. The other thing, just had a strategy lately where I've been going to the casino and playing pretty short game so that as soon as I'm up like $50 or so, I just bolt. Say I'm up $50 on a given roll and then there's a 7 out. I take my $50 and I head out, and it's helped me to really control, making sure that I walk out with some money. So pretty much been rolling with placing the 6 and 8, having a pass line with odds. And then once a shooter gets hot, I'll start throwing in some come bets with odds. So just figured I'd put that out there. I know I always like listening to other people's strategies as well. Great. Well, thanks for all you guys do. Have a great rest of your week.
Oh, we've said it before. Our old friend Stan. Right?
Yeah. Why not? Why don't you just leave as soon as you're up?
That's right. He says at some point in every gambling session, you're up. So just leave when you get to that point.
Yeah.
I don't see any problem with that logic.
No.
But seriously, if you enjoy playing that way, and I can see enjoying playing that way because you're leaving, I won. Yeah. Even if it's a little amount, that's a great way to do it.
If you live close enough, too.
That's the thing, right? If you can keep going.
You got to drive an hour and get there and you make your first blackjack bet and you win and you're just like, oh, I'm up $10. I better go. Yeah, it's kind of rough.
Maybe
but if you seriously, if you lived close enough and you said, hey, I'm going to go for 20 minutes or until I get up $100, that'd be a smart thing to do.
Or if you just casino hop, like you've talked about doing before too. That's another good
just
thing.
Just casino hop.
Yeah. Now, the two, I assume that he's talking about the Cherokee Valley River Casino in Murphy. So there's Cherokee, and then there's Cherokee Valley River in Murphy. So we'll just call that Murphy. Murphy is smaller, so it's probably going to be better for
lower
rollers,
limits,
right?
Yeah.
But gosh, if you're willing to go to a $10 craps table or even a $15 craps table, you might want to just go to Cherokee because we've heard great things about
my
that.
brother loves that.
Yeah.
He's been all over the world. He thinks that's the best casino he's ever been to.
Yeah, so if that's closer to...
And it's close to Dollywood. It's close to the park, the national park. I mean, there's a lot around there.
Yeah, so your definition of low roller, you're probably going to be okay there. Yeah,
I think you'll be fine at Cherokee.
Yep. All right, let's hear from our old buddy Marty. Haven't heard from him in a while.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. Marty from Northern California. Just recently relocated to Reno, Nevada. Hey guys, it's been a long time since I called in. Just kind of give you an update here on what's going on in Reno. So the Grand Sierra, which is a resort right up by the airport, same owner as the SLS in Vegas, is doing a full remodel of their casino. Beautiful new dice tables. In fact, dice tables unlike ones I've ever seen before. Instead of having wood rails, it actually got kind of an imitation stone railing. Really great. 5 times odds there now. During the day, 1 or 2 tables open, usually $5 or $10. At night, sometimes 3 tables, sometimes $10, usually a $5 on any night but Friday and Saturday night. Something called the Row. So they've rebranded Circus, Silver Legacy, and El Dorado downtown Reno as the Row. 3 casinos, same player's card, similar to what Total Rewards does. Play one place, get comps at all of them. Really nice setup there. They've removed all the table games from Circus, no big loss. Lots of table games at both Silver Legacy and El Dorado. 3, 4, 5 times odds on craps. Still have fire bets. Great cruise, 3 tables at each place, and just great cruise Friday and Saturday night. Normally 1 table at least is the $5 table, max 1,000, and then 3, 4, 5 times odds. Anyway, hopefully you get a Torino one of these days, and love to play with you guys. See ya. Have a good night.
Yeah, what about Gamblepalooza Reno?
There you go.
Huh?
That's
not bad. Julian's pretty close there, right? Maybe set something up. I had actually put a bug in Vito's ear that maybe we do Biloxi next year, but Reno, that's another possibility.
Reno,
I haven't been there for a while.
Yeah, better than Lake Tahoe. Well, because there's more casinos.
It's more. I mean, Lake Tahoe's fantastic. There's nothing wrong, but there aren't a lot of casinos.
Right, Reno. That's not bad. That's a good idea, and I have relatives there. So,
all right, very good. All right, next up, Joe.
Hi, my name is Joe, and I am calling from New Jersey. Just went to the MGM Springfield, Massachusetts New Casino. I heard a couple small reports on your other previous messages. It was very nice. The one thing I really liked about it was a non-smoking casino. I think every casino should be doing this. I mean, my girlfriend's eyes, she wears contact lenses, and it just irritates her eyes after only an hour in a lot of these casinos. So something that I wanted to talk about, I thought it's a good subject matter. The casino itself was very nice. It was clean, brand new, of course. Every little casino has its little nuances, but I thought this was very nice. All the games were there. I'm not a big craps guy, but I do like all those poker games, all the Ultimate Hold'em, 4-card poker, 3-card poker, Let It Ride. I know you don't talk a lot about that, but I would like to hear your input on those games. Thank you very much, and hope to hear this on your next site. Thank you. Bye-bye.
I love playing those poker-based carnival games. I actually have a lot of fun. Just that usually I'm going to the casino with you, and so we just go straight to the craps table, right? But they are fun.
I like playing them for a few minutes.
For a few minutes. That's the thing. Hey, Mike, play with me, and then, after a few hands, you're ready to move on.
Yeah, I can't sit there all night and play Ultimate Texas
I do
Hold'em.
enjoy playing them. We don't talk about it much on the show because we don't have much to say about it. And in fact, the 4 games that Joe mentioned, we actually have discussed in the past. We talked about 3-card poker back on episode 3, Let It Ride on episode 7, Ultimate Texas Hold'em on episode 43, and 4-card poker on episode 104. Now, the problem is, if you listen to episode 3 or 7, the audio is going to be terrible. If you listen to the Ultimate Texas Hold'em, episode 43, I messed up the rules. So it's wrong. There's a bunch of wrong things in there. I think 4-card poker, episode 104. I think that's okay.
Yeah, it took us 100 episodes to get our together.
Yes.
But we finally did.
All right, next call.
Hey, Mark, Dr. Mike, Garrett from San Antonio. Just got back from a cruise, 7 days in the Caribbean. Got to play a little bit of craps on there. I noticed they're really, really strict about the dice hitting the back wall there, and we had quite the episode actually with that. So the point was 5, and the gentleman next to me was shooting, and he threw the dice, hit the point, no big deal, they paid the line, everything was good, established another 5 point. Throws it, this time one of the dice hit a stack of chips on the pass line on the other side, and did not hit the back wall. The other dice did. It came up 5, everyone cheered. But apparently, in the cheering, the stickman had said, no roll, because one of the dice had hit the chips and not hit the back wall. Well, the gentleman next to me was rolling, and he actually decided to leave the table. He was so upset. We got upset, we left. And I was wondering, have you guys ever played anywhere where they just seem really, really strict about the dice hitting the back wall? I hadn't seen that before, so I was just wondering what you guys have seen. Anyways, love the show. Thanks.
Yeah, the rule...
We actually have played somewhere where they were really strict about that.
We have, but I was thinking, how many times have we actually been in a place where they said no roll because of it not hitting the back
usually they
roll?
just keep giving you warnings.
Warnings,
and they
yeah.
can get real pissy about it.
Yeah, so it does depend on the casino. And plus, I think this is a little too much. It hit a stack of chips. Well, that's why it didn't hit the back wall, because it hit the chips.
Well, did it hit a stack of player chips, or did it hit...
He said on the pass line, right?
Okay.
So,
I thought, if it hit like the dealer stack, maybe it didn't cross the table or bounce back.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But I doubt that the guy, is such a good dice controller that was his plan, was to hit the stack of chips. So,
something, he's really good at snooker or pool or something, and he knows all the angles, how to get that die actually to come up the way you want it.
Okay, well, I stand corrected. I wonder if they're more strict on cruise ships.
Yeah,
why? Yeah, because the boat's rocking. Why would they be?
Yeah, well, the boat's rocking. Well, maybe you're near the Bermuda Triangle and they're worried about, sliding and weird things.
Oh, that's true.
The equator, the supernatural stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, if they go past the equator, the dice start spinning the other way.
Right. Yeah, one die, you could be right on the equator, and one die could go one way and the other could go the other way, and then God knows what's going to come up.
It's chaos.
It's probably 7.
Yeah. That's right. That's 7. Well, we were passing the equator. No roll. All right, next up, Mike.
Hey, guys, this is Mike in Florida. I love your podcast and listening to it a lot, especially because I have 2 trips coming up to Vegas in June. I had a question for you, actually, 2. The 2 things that have sort of always bugged me, that if anyone can answer it, it's you guys. and I know you're craps players, so when it comes to double odds, which any craps player pretty much hates, my question is this. You would expect that on the Strip, but why is it so common, it seems, now in some of the downtown places and the South Point, for example, which is far from a tourist trap and is much more of a locals place? It seems like it's the inverse of what you'd expect when it comes to how the Strip screws up blackjack odds, and the off-strip ones are usually locals places that have better odds, including South Point, I might add, which does 3-2 blackjack, but they have double odds, and I don't play there because of that. Just want to see if you had any thoughts. And then secondly, another question, what do you guys think about why casinos won't rate your play when it comes to sports betting? I know there's a small amount of profit there for them, but if I'm coming in and betting $1,000 a game and I have a player's card, shouldn't that account for something when it comes to tier credits, reward points, especially given that you can sit there at a nickel slot machine and earn those things? It would seem like they should have a way where you swipe your card while placing a sports bet and you get something for it. Anyway, if you guys could answer those, I'd appreciate it. Keep up the good work and hope to see you out there one of these times.
In some cases, a casino might be thinking, well, we're just really not making a lot of money on the sports bets. I can kind of understand that. But keep in mind also that a lot of times the casinos are not running the sports books that are on their property. They've contracted it out. A lot of times there'll be just a William Hill in a casino, and so the casino themselves are not benefiting directly from the specific wagers.
They're making some money.
Of course they are.
They're not making the same as if they were booking the bets themselves.
Yeah. So
also think about this. What if I bet $1,000 on a baseball game and I get rated on that 1,000, and let's say I get so many tier credits. Okay. And then right before the game, there's a pitching change and the bet's off.
Right. Well, I assume
would they take your credits back? There's some logistics with sports betting. There's also a lot of pushing in sports betting, where, you could have 8 points in a football game and it's exactly 8 and you don't win.
I don't know about the pushing, but your point about a change when, there's no action on a bet.
This might get complicated, right?
Yeah. They probably account for that, but
they would have to.
I guess I would say just, try to find a place where the sports book is being run by the casino. You're probably more likely to get
some kind of rating. Yeah.
Now, as far as double odds go, we can't figure it out. Look at the Cal downtown. They've got double odds. And then you go right across the street to their sister property, Main Street Station. What do they have? 20 times odds?
20 times.
So who can say?
And we've talked about that, why that could be. I can think of some reasons why that could be.
Sure, lower minimums maybe at the double odds and things like that. But I am surprised that South Point only has double odds with as good as everything else seems to be there, the video poker and the blackjack and everything.
And that's a locals casino.
For sure.
Unless you're driving from...
tourists go there, but it's
more locals because, it's not on the Strip. It's not near anything.
Yeah.
Unless you were driving from LA and you just, I just can't do that last 15 minutes.
Yeah. All right. Let's hear from Bob.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Bob from Maine. Calling in with a trip report. Went to the Rivers Casino in Albany, New York over Easter. And a really nice place. Really enjoyed it. The boxmen and pit guys were fantastic. They had a couple new dealers at the table. So that took some getting used to. They were confused as far as payouts and bet strategy, but the boxmen really were fantastic. I did what everybody always says to do. I got to the table. It was filled with locals, and the guy next to me was shooting, so I held off. And the dealer next to me thanked me for my etiquette. That guy went on to roll for about 15 minutes, won lots of money, except for me. Anyway, I finally bought in, started playing a couple of different strategies, but eventually went to pass line bet and then 75 DC, which I'd called about a couple of weeks back. And that was actually working out okay. I was going up and down. I was holding steady, hoping that the table would get hot. But then the dealer, there was a regular standing to my right playing. Dealer started griping about my play. Now, I had been tipping early and just trying to be a courteous craps player, but it really got under my skin. He was definitely saying it loud enough for me to hear. And I kept changing strategies. I wasn't making him work any harder than I would any other dealer, but just found it kind of somewhat offensive and really kind of turned me off to playing. So I eventually cashed out and then took off. So not a successful or unsuccessful trip, just kind of annoying. Anyway, have you guys run into that before? A dealer who kind of gripes about your style of play? And if so, how do you handle it? Anyway, love your podcast. Keep it up. Talk soon.
There's no excuse for a dealer vocalizing displeasure or complaining about the way that somebody's betting or the bets that they're making. There really is no excuse. There's nothing wrong with what Bob was doing.
No.
Right?
No.
And, what do we do? I don't know. Talk back to the dealer and leave. I mean, it's, I'm not interested in
I just can't understand what you would have to complain about.
Yeah.
So a guy makes a $25 place bet on 6.
$25.
It wins.
Not 30.
Right.
Okay.
It wins.
All right.
He parlays it and has a $54 place bet now.
So a $25 bet pays $29, which is not exactly 7 to 6, right? But it pays 29, so now you've got 54. Okay.
You got 54 and he goes to 54.
Okay, right.
That hits, he goes to 60 or something, whatever. Okay. It's not conventional, but it still works. Well, so would a dealer complain about that? That's my thing.
No.
It's like, what would you complain about?
Now, a dealer might call attention to it, thinking maybe the player didn't know that they're being paid at the wrong odds.
Well, thinking that the $25 isn't a
multiple
standard
of 6.
bet.
Yeah, right. But actually complaining about it?
No, they should never complain. I mean, you see moves like that all the time.
Yeah. No, there's no excuse.
Yeah, we see them at Harris. People come up with some inventive things.
Yeah.
And I kind of get a kick out of it.
Yeah.
If I was dealing, I'd be curious. I wouldn't complain. I'd be like, let me see how this is going to work.
Yeah.
It'd be fun. Instead of the same old usual bets. It's probably some guy who's cranky and wants everyone to make the same bets because he knows exactly what to do. He doesn't have to use his brain at all.
People. Am I right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
People.
All right, let's hear from Little Joe.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Little Joe from Kokomo calling. I'm on my way into work right now, but I thought I'd give you not exactly a trip report, but a report from my best night of dealing craps that I've had yet. Happened last night, and it was my first night back on a $15 game after dealing $25 games, and so I was getting used to the sort of packed layout. I mean, we had 8 people per side, really heavy center action, all of this kind of stuff, and the table just went absolutely crazy. We had 2 rolls of an hour and a half or longer in a row, and I know what you're thinking, like, people tend to exaggerate the length of rolls, but dealers at my casino go in shifts of hour and 20 minutes, and both of these rolls started while I was on break and ended after I got on break again. And these rolls, I mean, it was insane. Just both of them hit 5 points on the fire bet. We hit the make them all once, the all tall and all small. Between the two, we hit them like 3 or 4 times. The dealers alone dropped more than $1,000 in tips based on one person betting for us. So it was just a really crazy fun night, and people walked away with easily thousands of dollars of the casino's money, which you always love to see. My only regret of the table is that I deal in a casino where people are more interested in betting prop bets and all kinds of center action than they are with doing silly things like pass line odds or making combets. And I can only imagine how much money they could have made if there were a few less horn high 12s bet and a few more combets that hit the crazy number of repeated numbers. So anyway, love the show. Thanks for keeping doing what you're doing. I think it's really great for people who are getting into gambling and trying to learn the game. So take it easy.
Thanks, Joe. It's great to get that perspective, right, from the dealer's point of view. I love that.
Right. Well, the dealers were pretty happy on Friday night.
What, did you drop a lot for them?
Maybe 5,500, 6,000.
Yeah, it really went well, didn't it?
Yeah, they had to dump the tip box out and color up.
That's right. They had to actually, exchange them for higher denomination chips. It was one of those rare instances, folks, where Mike won a ton and I won just a little.
Yeah.
Because all of your bets were coming up, the hard ways and the horns and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
We're hitting $200 hard 8s and $100 for the dealers. And I mean, it was just crazy, the amount.
You know what I love about Joe's call too is he said, said the players won thousands and thousands of dollars of the casino's money. And it just goes to show you the dealers want you to win.
Right.
They want you to win.
He's thinking this is casino money.
Yeah, it's not his money. It's not coming out of his paycheck.
No.
He wants you to win.
He wants you to win because he wants tips too. I mean, that's how it works, right? And that's why you should tip, because that's why those guys are working. They're working to get a little extra tips, and they're hustling, and they're being positive and happy, just like a waiter would be. Get your food and chat you up a little bit because he wants
the good ones,
right? The good ones, right? Exactly.
All right, next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is your listener, Marco, from Munich, Germany. First of all, it was really great meeting you guys at Gamblepalooza. I was only there for the very first night. Unfortunately, I really had to leave afterwards. I would have loved to stay. But still, it was really special to meet you in person, to hang out and play some craps with Dr. Mike and chat. It turned out to be an expensive chat because Mike was playing a $25 table, which is not something I usually do, but the losses weren't so bad and we had a really good time. And actually I was able to make up all of that afterwards at Video Poker, so all's good. I wanted to call in with a question regarding casino etiquette. What do you guys think about players who play more than one hand at a crowded casino? I tend to think it's pretty inconsiderate because even if nobody's standing right behind you trying to get in, there's people walking through the casino trying to look for their empty spot at that special table with that special minimum, with that special game they want to play. And you just, make that much harder for them, taking away an opportunity or just, cause them to have to go through that unpleasant situation of sitting down and making you stop play that second hand. That's never really pleasant. So maybe you found a way that's more elegant in handling that than I have in the past. Would be interested in any opinions you have on that. And if you ever find yourself on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean and you want to enjoy a ridiculously oversized drink at one of the local beer gardens, I would be more than happy to give you a tour of these establishments. So how's that instead of a well drink? I hope to see you guys again one day, in America or in Europe, and all the best of luck in the casino and with everything else. Goodbye.
If I remember correctly, Marco and I talked about the Oktoberfest and the beer parties in Germany.
I had already gone to bed, didn't I?
Yeah, you had gone to bed, and we played for a while. It went okay when he was there, but Marco, I hate to tell you this after you left, I had a few heaters. That first night was actually really good for me.
Yeah.
So, while he was there, it was rough. Well, it wasn't terrible.
Right.
So,
as far as players playing more than one hand, I guess the thing is, do you mind if I play here? I mean, what else can you do, right?
Well, and a courteous guy would say, sure, go ahead and play.
Exactly. Depends on the kind of person you're dealing with. Now, if it's an AP who maybe, has some knowledge of the game, they may say no. Yeah. And, I would hope that players that are interested in playing more than one hand aren't playing at the minimum tables, at the low limit tables.
Right, that's what I was going to say. If they're at the low limit tables and playing like 2 or 3 hands, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Go to the higher limits if that's what you want to do. But it's just like any other.
At least play at a quarter table.
Yeah.
So, you got 50 on 2 hands. That makes a little more sense. But if you're at a $10 blackjack table and you're trying to play 3 hands, that's, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I've seen that.
Oh, yeah, I have too. But again, it's just, ask nicely. If they say yes, great. If they say no, it depends on how much confrontation you're interested in dealing with.
And the casino should have a policy, like on a busy night.
Yeah,
maybe like on a Saturday night, say, hey, just one hand.
And then maybe they do. And again, it'll depend. Is this guy a 7 stars? It's all that stuff too. So, all right. Next up is Adam.
Hey guys, it's Adam from Connecticut. I just had a quick question for you guys about buy-ins at table games as far as it pertains to ratings. So let's say I have $300 that I'm willing to put at risk at a craps table. Is it better to buy in? Normally what I do is I throw $100 on the table at a time at a $5 table, just because I feel like if I'm only going to need to risk $100 and I can do great with $100, why put all of it on the table at once, even though it's not technically at risk? Is it better for my rating to buy in with everything that I'm willing to risk at once, or is it better to buy in with the $100 at a time and reload as needed, like I have been doing? Or does it not matter at all? I know most of the ratings are based off the bets that you make at the table, but I also notice that every time I buy in and hand my card to the table boss, when the pit boss comes over to put me in on the table boss tells him how much I bought in with. All right. Thanks. I'll hear from you guys soon.
You're better off buying in for the bigger amount right away.
Yeah, most definitely.
Because let's say in that example, you only buy in for $100 at a time. Well, the pit boss is going to think, all right, this guy's only in for $100. He's going to be making these kinds of bets, these size kinds of bets, right? $5 here. But if you buy in for $300, he might think, okay, he's willing to make, some bigger bets.
Buying in for a larger amount shows the casino that you are willing to risk a larger amount.
Right.
Whether you are or not is irrelevant.
That's true.
It's just that they think you are.
And it will also help too if when the pit boss is looking, when they've entered your information, those first couple of bets you make maybe are bigger than your normal bets.
Right.
Just to show them.
Because a lot of times they look at your first bets and maybe the second shooter, maybe they look at your bets then too. But after that, they don't look as much.
Yeah, maybe they're
because they
off doing
already
other
assume
stuff,
this guy's playing at this level.
Yeah.
And so if you start off a little higher, you might get a higher rating. Now you can go down.
Sure.
And if they notice that you went down and stayed down, they might change it, but so what?
Yeah, at least you were in there initially.
Right.
You might want to pick up the book Comp City by Max Rubin. It's an older book now, and some of the things in it are dated, but a lot of the principles still apply, and that's one of them. Make those big bets right away to kind of get attention.
It's
from
a
the pit.
psychology thing more than anything else.
Yeah. All right, last call.
Hi, my name's Skyler. I'm from Utah. I wanted to share my experience I had in Wendover for my birthday a couple weeks ago. I went there with probably $500, and I basically lost everything the first night, and we were going to leave the next day. I even had to get more money out of the ATM a couple times. The next day, my mother-in-law and father-in-law were with me. They felt bad, and for my birthday, they gave me $20 to go spend after I'd lost everything else. So I put it in a slot machine, and I win $90. So I go get her 20 back. I thought, well, maybe I'll try playing roulette and get lucky, because I hadn't hit any of my usual numbers the whole time I was there. And I noticed the roulette table hadn't hit zeros in a while, and I usually bet on zeros. So I go there, and I get down to my last $20. I usually bet 5 on each zero, and it finally hits. And I was like, well, I better cash out because I don't want to lose any more. So I go tell my in-laws how much I've won, and it was great. And then I walk back by just to see what the next number was. It hit zeros again. And so I go over there and say, hey, now it hits zeros again after I cash out. And she says, oh, actually, I didn't pay you out all your chips. You still left $5 chips on these zeros. I'm like, well, that's my bet. Give me my money. But obviously they thought I was joking, and which I was, and I didn't expect them to pay that because I didn't know it was there either. But I was just wondering if I would have even had a leg to stand on for that argument, but probably not, where I left the table and told her I cashed out, but that would have been nice. And then also I noticed after that I hit another number like 11 or something, then hit zeros again 3 times in a row. So if I just kept playing, I probably would have made all my money back. Anyways, it was a fun time. Thanks. Bye.
So Skylar, if she really left your bets out there, that's your money.
That's your money.
It is
They
your
count.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you win.
You should have made a fuss, I think.
Yeah, right.
I'm surprised they didn't just pay you. That's something that a good casino would just, oh, yeah, it was out there. It's his.
Yeah.
In fact, if it had hit and you weren't even standing there,
right,
what they should do is, oh, these bets are here, and put it aside and try to find you.
And, find you. And if you had used a player's card, they have your name. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah,
I know when I first heard the call, I'm thinking, oh, maybe the money wasn't really out there. But if those chips,
if they were on zero and zero came up, whether you're at the table or not, that was your money. You should have won.
Yeah.
Right. Doesn't matter what your intention was.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I mean, you could have just been standing there and picked it up and thought you picked them all up and left one there.
Yeah.
There's no different that than there is walking away.
Yeah.
Right.
At least give them the $5 chips back.
Yeah, right.
At least
exactly.
like
that they should. Now, if a guy walked away and he left some chips on the layout, the dealer's supposed to lock those up.
Yeah, maybe just, put an off button or take them off. But it sounded like they were still out there.
Yeah.
You need to go back to Wendover and insist on your money. So
he ends up in jail. Mark and Dr. Mike.
All right. Well, we got through all our calls, all our big backlog there. So we'll be back with a regular episode next week. The only thing else coming up, Kentucky Kentucky Derby this weekend. We don't really know much about it, although the favorite, Omaha Beach, was scratched.
Really?
Yeah. I think it was just earlier today, breathing problems. Whatever that is. I didn't read the article.
Well, that's when you're not breathing well, Mark.
That's probably not the best for a race, human or horse.
Or horse, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so that's going to do it. Mike, got anything else for us?
No, I'm just off the air. I'm going to tell you a dice setting story that's too long to tell.
Okay.
But if anyone ever wants to hear this story, I will
just
tell
in
this.
person.
Yeah, I will tell this to you at 360 Vegas Vacation,
right? Or at the summit or
something like that.
Right, sounds good. All right, thanks for listening.
Good night.
Mark, that was wonderful. I had no idea you were so talented. The audience is going to love you.